excited to welcome Laurie Sparks-Dennison to our meeting today. Laurie will present on mindfulness and some strategies you can use as a caregiver to practice mindfulness. She works at St. Vincent Family Services and has an experience as a therapist and a yoga teacher, so we're just so glad to have her expertise. I hope you enjoy this presentation.
Amazing. Well, thank you for inviting me here today to talk about mindfulness. I am really excited to bring this information to you. I think it's so useful and helpful to so many people, especially people who are feeling maybe exhausted, tired, all of the things because of the caregiving needs of your family. So definitely this is something that I think is helpful and useful for anyone, however, especially for caregivers. So our agenda, I'm gonna introduce myself. We're gonna do a check-in, and you can do the check-in however feels right. You don't have to do it at all. You can put an emoji in the chat. You can do a thumbs up, however it feels good to you. We'll practice a little bit of mindfulness in our own bodies if that feels right for you. And then we'll do a little bit of a checkout and see how that feels. So that's what we're going to do this morning. I'm Laurie. I'm a social worker and a yoga teacher, and I am really happy to be here to talk about the mindfulness practices today. And just a reminder, all of these practices are completely optional, so only do what feels good to you. If we have time, we might even do some chair yoga. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. You can just watch, you can think about it, you can do some moves and leave some out. So we all know we must take care of ourselves before we can take care of the needs of others. This is so hard. Most of us don't feel like we have the opportunity to take care of ourselves. And then we're kind of feeling depleted. So it's really hard to take care of everybody and ourselves. So just a reminder of things that you already know. A little bit about mindfulness. Mindfulness can help reduce stress and anxiety, promote self-regulation, and increase resilience, which helps us to better manage the hard job of caregiving. So mindfulness is really being in the present moment, like feeling all the feelings, feeling our bodies, listening to our emotions. That's what we mean when we talk about mindfulness, being in the here and now. So we're going to do a quick check-in, and you don't have to unmute if you don't want to. Just 2 words. You can put them in the chat, or you can unmute and just shout out whatever feels right for you. So when we talk about mindfulness, we want to checking in with how are we feeling in this moment. I'm feeling excited and happy to be here. So those are my 2 words. Does anybody else want to share 2 words, whether it's in the chat or out loud? So many things. You're feeling all the feelings today. So that's just the 2-word check-in. That's something that you can all do with yourself too. In the morning, how am I feeling? What are my 2 words? And in the afternoon and in the evening, just checking in with yourself throughout the day. So we're going to dive in with our first quick practice. And the things that I'm bringing you today are things that you could do, most of them in the moment with nothing. Like you don't need anything for these things. This can take 30 seconds, 90 seconds. It's called the quick coherence technique. And you can start, if you want to do this, just by noticing your breath. You're not going to change it or fix it. You're just going to notice, right? And then you could consider putting a hand on your heart. You could have eyes open or closed. And then if you can make a picture in your mind, that's awesome. And if you can't, think of a thought, something that has brought you intense joy, just something that's very happy, an amazing warm memory. It could be a person, a pet, a movie, a song, or an event. It could even be a food, something that you love, 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 and every time you hear about it, it excites you. So bring that to mind in either a picture or a thought. And we're going to pretend that we can breathe in and out of our heart and kind of hold this really joyful thing in our heart. And just notice what you notice. A lot of times I'll think about it, an old pet or someone that I just really snuggly and warm and soft. Usually it's a cat. So that makes me feel very joyful and very excited, and it really shifts my energy very quickly. If you did this, did you notice anything? Because it's very fast and it doesn't take us a long time. Did anyone notice? Your body is very in tune with what's going on around you. And the reason why mindfulness can be so powerful is if you're having a bad day and you're feeling really overwhelmed, your body knows it. And we can put a pause on that sometimes, right? Like this technique is very short and very quick and does allow us to really shift for a little bit, and we can do it over and over again if we need to, but it definitely, traffic is a good time to do it, just to kind of drop down into your heart space and breathe and think of that thing. And it really can shift you to a place of overwhelm to at least feeling calmer, right? It may not solve all your problems, but in the moment, that's all you really need is something to kind of get you to the next step. So that's called the quick coherence technique. And I would definitely encourage you all to try that when you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed. Again, 30 seconds to 90 seconds is all you really need. Mindfulness can also help to lower heart rate, blood pressure, all of those things. And even though you might not be registering it, again, your body is registering your fast heart rate. And usually when we're reactive, it's because our brains are spinning, our heart's going really fast, our body can't slow down, we're not giving ourselves that opportunity. So these things do go hand in hand, right? The emotions and all of the sensations that we feel in our body can help us to have that pause to just be with ourselves for a second, and sometimes even to make a different or better choice than we would have if we were in that reactive brain. So I think that is really, really valuable information to be able to monitor what's going on in yourself. And so all of these things can help for sure. Just you have to kind of pick and choose what works for you and what doesn't. We're going to talk about something called EFT. It's called the full name is Emotional Freedom Technique, and it feels a little foreign. You'll see him tapping through different points on his body. They're called meridian lines, or they could be like acupressure points. And people say that this can be a source of stress relief. So you can watch, you don't have to do, but he's going to take you through a couple of tapping points. And if you choose to do it, I again invite you to notice, like, how does this land for you? Does it help you to feel calmer? Does it feel super silly? Is it something that you wouldn't use or would use? I think this is about a minute video if we can hear it and see it. So again, this is a very fast way to gather some calm for yourself when you're feeling stressed out and you feel like you don't have time to do what you need to do to take care of yourself. So we're going to try sharing this.
In certain video games, you can go into certain modes, like beast mode or super saiyan mode, so that you're activating this really high level of performance for a certain period of time, because that kind of high level is not always sustainable. So let's do that. And I'm going to say awesome mode, but you can change the word to whatever, like championship mode or athlete mode or genius mode, whatever it might be. So you can find out more about EFT tapping on my website, tapwithbrad.com. But for right now, just tap where I tap and repeat back what I say.
And you don't have to repeat it out loud. So we're just tapping if you want to do
I
it.
choose to activate awesome mode.
You can think it in your brain.
And I choose to love and accept myself. I choose to activate awesome mode. I choose to activate awesome mode. Allowing myself to be at my absolute best. Allowing myself to be focused. Allowing myself to be energized. So I can really get something done. And do it as well as possible.
And then on top of his head.
I'm clearing whatever might stop me. Clearing limitations.
Go through it again.
So that I can truly activate awesome mode. Making things happen. I've got what it takes to do what it takes.
I love that.
I'm finding that inside myself. That awesomeness is already inside of me. And I'm activating it. Allowing myself to activate awesome mode. In body, mind, and spirit.
Then taking a breath.
Take a deep breath. Allow the rinse repeat as necessary, and as you allow yourself to get into that mode, just see what you can accomplish for yourself and for others. It's awesome.
We're going to pause that. It's very short. It's very weird, probably, right? And if anyone did it, I don't, what did that do for you? It's something that takes a little time for some people, if they're interested in it, because it is so different than things that you've been taught in the past. It does really help to pull you in the present moment. And some people will find if you tap through, there are certain spaces that might feel better than others. Like sometimes when I feel stressed, I'll just kind of tap on the breastbone. I don't have to go through the whole thing. And people around me know, like, oh, what is going on? Because you are stressed if you're doing this, but I'm actually releasing the stress and able to kind of manage things a little bit better. So there's tons of EFT videos available to you on YouTube that are really helpful. They're geared towards all different things. So if you're interested, I just encourage you to kind of follow that lead. It's something that can be really, really useful if you're down with it. So next, we're going to learn a breathing technique. Our breath is really important, as you know. It's even more important when we're stressed and we're overwhelmed. Sometimes we don't even notice that we're not breathing well, you know. So there's thousands of different types of breaths that we can do to kind of help center ourselves and feel more present. This one is called the physiological sigh, and it really just kind of does almost the same thing as the quick coherence technique. It will kind of provide a whoosh of calm. That's what it's supposed to be doing. It's 2 breaths, a long breath, and then a short breath on top of that, and then a sigh out. And I just invite you to like notice what you're noticing right now in your body. And then if you choose to do the physiological sigh, then notice if there's a difference afterwards. So we'll go ahead and watch this.
Here is the quickest way to bring you into a state of calm. Take a deep inhale through the nose to your fullest capacity. Sneak in one more inhale, and then slowly letting it all go through the nose or through the mouth, noticing the effects this has on your body. Repeat if you like, and enjoy.
Do one more of those. Let's see if we can...
Here is the quickest way to bring you into a state of calm. Take a deep inhale through the nose to your fullest capacity. Sneak in one more inhale, And then slowly, slowly letting it all go through the nose or through the mouth. Noticing the effects this has on your body.
Okay, so that was probably like 30 seconds. Did anybody notice the difference? Because I literally feel like very chill after that. What's your reaction, or what do you notice? No, for sure. And some people may not, that's why there are lots of options when using mindfulness, right? There are thousands of others, like I said, thousand different kinds of breath, different kinds of tapping. If you buy into meditation or yoga or any of those things, there's multiple ways to be able to enjoy those things and utilize them. Not everything is going to fit for everyone, but definitely thanks for that. This is something that can work really quickly though, and can also help kind of stave off a panic. So if you're feeling really panicked, that really full breath, and then just sneak in that second breath, and then just kind of let it all go. Maybe a couple of times in a row is really helpful.
Mhm. Yeah, we had some others find it helpful as well. My grandson practices breathing techniques suggested by his behavioral therapist too.
I love that, and definitely encourage you all to kind of share what works for you with the littles in your house and with your grandkids, with any of the children in your home. You can kind of do some of these things together, or at least encourage them. For the older kids, we just might share a video link like, hey, I tried this and it kind of felt good. I just want to share it with you. Kids love to feel good too. They love to feel good in their bodies, and it's easier for us to do our jobs if our kids are feeling good. So it's just something to think about. The next thing is just how we're standing and how we're holding our body. You've probably noticed that when you're struggling, your posture changes, right? When you're having a hard day, your shoulders come in, your head goes down, you're a couple inches shorter because you're kind of hunching over. If we can kind of get into our body, which again is what mindfulness is, how we stand and what we think can make a huge impact on our well-being. So just the superhero pose, just kind of like that Wonder Woman pose or Superman pose, putting your hands kind of on your waist or on your hips, and just thinking something like, I got this. Even if you can go to the bathroom for a minute and just, I got this, can help to shift. It can help us to feel like we have more control over a situation that might feel out of control. And again, it's something that maybe doesn't work for everybody. Maybe this is not your pose. Maybe there's another one that feels really good to you. Maybe tree, like standing up like a tree, and shoulders back, and you thinking something different other than I got this. However, find what works for you and kind of notice what works for you. And I would encourage you to do that thing, right? Like, it can shift really easily. I know I've been places like when my kids were little in like a store and feeling so out of control with lots of things going on around us and crying and, all of the things, and just kind of like taking a breath and thinking, I got this, and shifting my body a little bit has been really helpful. So we're going to move on to another technique. I think, I don't know if you all are familiar with the concept of self-compassion. Self-compassion is so valuable for caregivers. Oftentimes we are so exhausted, things feel really hard. We don't really have time to think about what's going on with us and offer ourselves some self-compassion. So this is another one of those techniques that are very short. They can be very short. This can also be longer. They have this available in longer meditation. So this is about taking something that's really hard for you and noticing it. So we're going to just go through the components of RAIN. The R is for recognize. So let's say something is really hard right now. Maybe recognizing that you're overwhelmed, so you might feel into your body and think, oh, I recognize that I'm overwhelmed. And then the A is for allowing. We're going to allow any thoughts, feelings, or sensations to just be there. So if you're overwhelmed or frustrated, where is that showing up in your body? Do you have tightness, tension, pain? Do you have thoughts about this is too hard, I can't do this? So the A is just allowing those thoughts without judging or pushing them away. And then the I is to investigate, what is this really about? It could be about the kiddos in your home. It could be about not having enough time or energy. It could be about a lot of things. It could remind you of something that happened when you were younger that was a big trigger for you, and it just feels so hard. So that's why it's important to investigate, like, where did this come from? What is this really about? And then the N is that nurture, which is something that my guess is that you all don't do as often as you need to, because none of us do. Nurture yourself. You could put a hand on your heart and you could offer some kind words, just validating this is really hard. And then just notice what that feels like. So going through and just kind of one more time, recognizing what's going on for you, allowing any thoughts, feelings, or sensations to just be there, investigating what is this really about, and then showing yourself some loving kindness with either a hand on your heart or an affirmation or something that is going to validate what you're feeling. And I do have a short video, but I don't think that we really need it today. It just really affirms all of those things, and it's here for you if you do want it. Any thoughts on self-compassion and how you can utilize this to really take care of yourself? It might feel like a foreign concept. Yeah, it's so good. There's a whole website about self-compassion from Dr. Kristen Neff, and then also Tara Brock, and lots of self-compassion exercises. They can be 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, doesn't have to take much of your time or energy. And then chair yoga, if you all are moved to do this with me, you don't have to, you can watch. If you're down with it, we'll do it together. It's going to be very simple. This is a routine that I kind of utilize with people who might have some sort of blood pressure issues or some other issues in their body that's very easy. So I invite you to kind of do what you can if you want to. If not, just watch and listen. But this is something, again, you can do in your seat, you can do at work, you can do anytime, and it doesn't have to take a very long time. You don't need any equipment to do this. You just need your body, a chair, or the floor. So if you are down with this, we'll go ahead and start. If you do have medical conditions that might be worsened, just don't do them. We're going to move very slowly and we're going to breathe. Remember your breath as we move through this. So I'm going to invite you, if you want to do this, to kind of move towards the edge of your seat and feel really grounded. So if you can touch the floor with your feet, like feel your feet on the floor. And we're going to start with our hands on our knees, and we're just going to shift back and forth, just loosening up your spine, because a lot of times our spine holds a lot of tension. So we're just going to loosen your spine and breathe. And we'll come to stillness with our hands back on our lap. So next we're going to inhale, reaching our arms up as high as comfortable. And feel the stretch. Bring your palms together. exhaling, hands to heart. We'll try that one more time if you're ready. Inhaling up as high as you can go. Feel the stretch, palms together, and then hands to heart on an exhale. So with palms together at your heart space, we're going to slowly twist to the right. Just twist your upper body to the right. I'll hold this for a few breaths. And you'll probably notice a stretch in your back. Then coming slowly back to center with your hands together, we're going to twist to the left. And just continue to notice your breath. Then slowly, slowly moving back to center. Let's do that one more time. We're going to slowly, again, hands to heart, twist our upper bodies to the right. Slowly come back to center. And then slowly, slowly move to the left. And back to center. We're just kind of unwinding all the stuff that our body holds. This time we're going to take our left hand to our right knee if that's available to you. And take your right hand behind you wherever you can. And we're going to twist again, looking over the right shoulder. And then twist slowly back. This time we're going to take the right hand to the left knee and our left hand behind us. And we're slowly going to look over our left shoulder. Just unwinding. And then slowly coming back to center. And just take a second to kind of notice what you notice. Notice how your body feels. Now we're going to take our right hand and we're going to rest it on the edge of our seat. So right hand, right side of the seat. Our left hand comes to the small of our back. And we're going to twist again to the left, just as far as is comfortable. And then back to center. We'll do that again with our left hand on the edge of our chair, our right hand coming to the small of our back, and just using the chair as leverage to push yourself to the right. Noticing your breath and then slowly coming back to center. You'll notice a lot of these are chest openers, which can really help open our heart and kind of change our mood. Next, we're going to do hands on thighs. So just rest them there. And this is something called cat-cow or cow-cat. So we're going to breathe in and just kind of open your heart. When you breathe out, just kind of drop your head. So breathing in, opening your chest, right? And then breathing out, dropping your head, pulling your shoulders in, chin to chest. And one more time, breathing in, opening your heart, noticing what that feels like, and then chin to chest, shoulders in, and just noticing your breath. And then lastly, we're going to reach up, rise up with our hands. Again, palms together, back to your heart center. And one more time, breathing in, reaching up, rising up, palms together. I see some yawns, hands to heart. And then you can Put your hands back on your thighs or wherever feels good to you and just kind of notice. That's the end of the sequence. Notice what you notice. I saw some yawns. I saw some movement. I wonder if you feel some opening, some release, or something else. Amazing. Thank you for that. Oftentimes we do hold our emotions in our bodies, and sometimes we don't notice it because we're so busy. So it was great that you were able to notice, had a tight chest, and relate it to the thing that might have happened earlier. And now you have a tool to kind of loosen up a little bit and release some of that tension. Right. That's a great observation. Sometimes we don't know. Like we don't know until we stop. That's the mindfulness, is that pause. We stop, we notice, and then we can do something about it, because if we don't notice it, we can't change it. Um, so that's the difference. Anyone else? So that is the last practice that we're going to do, except for we'll do 3 collective breaths together. Sometimes it's so powerful to breathe together intentionally. You can like take your kiddo and take their hand if they want, or they give you permission, and just, can we breathe? Can we breathe? So maybe let's just try 3 breaths. They can be whatever kind of breaths that you want them to be. They don't have to be anything special, but let's do. Three. Okay. Do you notice anything different? To share.
I love doing this together. Something we actually do at the end of our open discussion meetings, we'll say like a positive affirmation together. And I feel like it means so much more like doing it together than just saying it to yourself
Mhm.
for some reason.
It does. It's because you have that powerful witness, like you have another person witnessing, and being able to validate, and that feels so much better than you can do that yourself, but it just feels so much better to know that other people care. So any other thoughts? Do you have any questions for me? I know some of these are weird, wonky practices. They might be new to you, and I just definitely encourage you to open your mind, because stress is hard. It's hard in your body, it's hard in your brain. And if we have tools that we can try to kind of release that valve a little bit, and help you to feel better in the moment, it's worth trying something silly or goofy, to relieve the stress, than kind of holding it all in, and not maybe being willing to dabble in some of these experiences, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I do challenge you all to think, how did you feel like coming into this meeting today? And then like, how do you feel now? I know I feel a difference for myself. And then even like, was there anything that was especially helpful out of all the things that we tried? Because like Laurie said, it's different for everyone. I think the tapping is good for me because of my like limited attention span. I kind of need that like physical reminder to be present. So I do just invite you all to reflect as well.
It takes time to build a habit, right? I would start very, very small and give yourself grace if you don't get to it that day. I started this thing during COVID where I started doing yoga and meditation every single day. So it's been, I don't know, like we're 5 years post COVID, and I have not skipped a day. But what I have done is I've allowed myself to shift it. So if I was sick, I would do like a yoga nidra, which is literally just laying there, bouncing your attention through your body without any movements. Or I would do something called legs up the wall, where you're literally laying on your bed or by a wall with your legs up the wall. And that was my yoga for the day because it is a yoga pose technically. So being a little sneaky with it, but I still manage to do it every day. So it doesn't have to be like a big, long practice, Jackie. It can be 30 seconds, 90 seconds. And, it also builds trust with yourself. If you say, I'm going to do this every day, that's a trust building activity. So maybe you start with something very small, 1 minute. Maybe you set timers throughout the day. Maybe you have an accountability partner who says, hey, Jackie, did you do this thing today? You said you were going to do it. So those are some ways to build routines that can be really, really useful because I think you're right on. This should be a practice because it does work in the moment. It works as a one-off, but it repatterns your nervous system. That's definitely what it did for me. I am a very anxious person, very hyper, and no one would really know that about me because I've been practicing for so long that it's not apparent inside or outside, actually. So I would encourage you to find what works and just do it, and kind of have to do something that feels good too. Like if you don't like it, if you feel like it's silly, you're probably not going to do it. So find something that feels meaningful for you, however that looks and feels.
I love that. I had a question I was wondering about too. I know like in terms of like I've heard with vulnerability, there's such thing as like a vulnerability hangover, like kind of when you open yourself up and then afterwards you're like reverting back and like, oh, was this good? Was this something I should have done? I feel like with mindfulness, sometimes it like feels so good in the moment. And then if I start feeling anxious again, it's kind of like an uncomfortable place to be because it almost maybe does open you to like feel your feelings more. So I don't know what that question is, but is there such thing as like a mindfulness hangover per se, or like is it normal to maybe feel anxious afterwards or something like that?
I think I hear what you're saying. It's kind of like I like the term vulnerability hangover because it can be really hard. And that reflection, sometimes we're worried about like, how did that look? Like, do I have to do that again? Like, am I going to have to do this every day? I think that there is something to be said in like closing things down. If you feel extra vulnerable, like after a yoga session or after even this meeting, what grounds you? So getting back to grounding really quickly, whether it's your dog, your cat, going, out for a walk outside, watching the birds, having a hot cup of tea or coffee that grounds you, but doing something that's very grounding for you. That means like, feeling anchored, feeling like you're not, your brain's not floating away. So doing whatever that thing is, if it's you have a little in your home, giving them a hug, whatever it is that grounds you, just I would encourage you to do that thing and see if that shifts anything. So you don't have that open, like vulnerability that feels so hard at the end, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was asking. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And I saw that, I think Jackie asked something about the scheduling things on the calendar. I think that helps for some people for sure. Like I have done that before, just scheduled things on my calendar until it became a habit, or used like a alarm on the phone or scheduled it on the phone. However works best for you, whatever way that you have been successful setting some sort of routine in the past, I encourage you to try that, try all of those things. And you might need post-it notes, and again, like an accountability partner, like whatever works. You might need multiple things though, but I definitely encourage you to explore what has worked for you in the past to see if that helps to build the routine and the structure that you need.
And something that I wanted to share too, because I also really struggle with doing things. I have ADHD as well, so it's hard for me to like stick to something. I get really excited and then I like kind of fall off a bit. Something that helps me is like if I can doing something even before I get out of bed, Like even just taking like 3 slow breaths,
Yep.
because then it's like the first thing, there's no distractions, and it's not at the end of the day, so it's harder to forget. So maybe if there's something you could do in the morning that's like really simple, just as a start, that's an idea.
Yeah, that's so true. I definitely do that as well. I do like my meditation before I even get out of bed, and then um, do yoga in the morning before I get ready to go to work. So, like, whatever works for your schedule, but I think that's definitely worth exploring. What can you do in bed before you get out of bed, and maybe when you get into bed at night? That's another opportunity to do some, you can do some breathing, you can do some yoga poses in bed. Like, there's a lot of different alternatives for utilizing bed to do some of this mindfulness. It's a really good place to do it.
Yeah, and I think someone had suggested before bed they had like a head massager they used. I forgot the name of it. But even if you need that like tactile to relax, just seeing like again what works for you and knowing there's tools out there and making it as enjoyable as possible too.
Definitely.
Oh, that's what it was. The eye massager mask, that's what it's called.
This is a really great group, and I appreciate you inviting me. And I love to talk about this stuff, so it just gives me a forum to be able to share this information. So hopefully there was something useful for all of you, even if it's like, I don't like this stuff, I'm not going to do it. That's also useful if that was your thought, but hopefully there's something that you can take away today and actually put it into practice.
Thank you so much and welcome to our KCC group. We really appreciate it. I know I feel a lot more relaxed after today, so I hope you all can take that with you and set a goal for yourself of something new to try. And yeah, we'll be back on Thursday with an open discussion to share together.